Hello, welcome. We're going to give it about 1 minute for some more families to join us, and we'll get started soon after that, but we're really excited you're here. Thanks for coming tonight. All right, so we'll get started now. Thank you so much for being with us tonight for our 12 Trails family webinar. This is really the kickoff of the camp season for summer 2024. After this, you'll be hearing from us a ton more through email, through phone calls, through meetups to pick up your camper packets. So there'll be lots of opportunities to ask questions after this. So if you don't get all of your answers tonight, know that we're always here to help answer any of your questions. We'll be covering a bunch of different topics tonight, but before we get started, I would love to introduce the team that's here tonight, who are all members of our year-round leadership team for camp. So I'm Roxanne Peretz. I'm the camp director of 12 Trails. This is my third summer as the camp director. Before that, I was previously our assistant director since the summer of 2016. I've been here since the start of 12 Trails and really excited for another summer at camp.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sam. I am the Teen Engagement Coordinator at 12 Trails this summer. Like Roxanne, I have also been at camp since we opened our doors in 2016, and I'm excited to kick it off with everybody.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tracy. I am the Director of Inclusion for Camp 12 Trails, and I have also been with the camp team since 2016, and I'm ready for another summer.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emma. I am the Trailblazers division head at camp. For those of you who don't know, Trailblazers is our older side of camp. So entering third grade through entering sixth grade. Just like everyone said, I've also been here since the start of camp in 2016, and have had a variety of positions, but super excited to come back as a Trailblazer division head for, I believe, the third summer.
Hi, everyone. I am Beth. I am Emma's counterpart. I am the Pioneer Division Leader, which means that I oversee the littles. I oversee the entering kindergarten, the entering first grade, and the entering second grade. I am the odd one out. I have not been here since 2016, but I have been here since 2017, so I'm only 1 year behind. But I grew up at camp, so I think that helps me out a little bit. But I'm excited for another year, and I'm excited to see all your kids grow and have a wonderful summer.
Awesome. So the people that you just met are just a few people on our year-round leadership team. We have about like 5 additional people that are supporting us that you'll get to meet as the summer goes along. But tonight's webinar is really focused on the pioneers and trailblazers. We'll have a webinar next week for our inclusion program that dives way deeper into that. And then after that, we'll have a teen adventures webinar, so you can learn a lot more about that program if you have a camper in grades 7 through 10. But tonight, it's all about the pioneers and trailblazers. And here's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to be talking about a typical day at camp. That includes everything from the bus stop, the daily schedule, different things that could come up throughout the day. We'll be talking about special programs, which is not just our calendar and theme days and dress up days, which are super, super fun, but also will encompass some things about inclement weather and when we have those surprise special program days. We'll also be talking about health and safety, a really important part of our program. We know that you're trusting us with your children for this summer. I'm a mom myself. I know you're putting a lot of trust in us by sending your child to camp. And so we want to make sure that you feel completely safe and secure in everything that's happening and the team that will be taking care of your kids. We're also going to go further into staff, who are our staff, who are the people for you to contact. And then lastly, we'll be talking a little bit about communication, what that looks like in the lead up to camp, and what that also looks like once summer starts. And again, who are your people to talk to when you have questions or when things come up? As we move into the first part, which is the typical day at camp, I do want to let you know that Sam is going to be on our question and answer section. So if you would like to ask a question at any point, you can type that in and he will be answering your questions. If a question we feel like might be relevant to everyone on this webinar, and know that this webinar is being recorded for families that were not able to make it tonight, we will make sure to present that and answer that question in this space. But please feel free to ask questions as we're going through the webinar, and Sam will answer. So moving into our first section, which is a typical day at camp, even though I really wonder, are there any typical days at camp? 35 days of summer, every day looks a little bit different, but we'll go over the basic structure of it. We have a ton of different activities at camp, but everything starts at the bus stop for us. So we have over 17 buses that are picking up all across, Upper Manhattan, the Bronx, Kingsbridge, Riverdale, Westchester. And so each of those buses has about 2 to 3 bus stops that they're picking up. We try to really limit the amount of stops the bus is making because we don't want the campers on them for any longer than they need to be. The ride to camp is about 30 to 40 minutes on most bus stops, unless you're coming from the Westchester area, where it might be more like 25 minutes depending on traffic. We recognize that the bus can be a part of the day that's hard for children. And so we do a lot of things to make sure that the kids feel good, especially on the first day of camp. And that starts with our bus captains. So the picture on the left that you see is a group of our bus captains who are mostly returning staff members. They are your point person at the bus stops every morning. They're the people that will be taking attendance. They will be the people checking in with you in the afternoon. If you have a message that you'd like relayed to somebody at camp, they can also always help with that. And they are really there to be of assistance to you in the morning. Our bus captains supervise the buses. We use the same bus company each year that we have for, since before we were 12 Trails, which is the Academy Bus Company. They actually service the Yonkers public school system. And so all of the drivers are active drivers. They are all background checked very thoroughly because we know that they're driving kids. Our bus company is also making sure to track for speed. So if ever a driver goes above 55 miles an hour, there's an alert for them. They're super on top of it. They also do have cameras on the buses as well in case of any situation where we might need that or to check on something. And all of our buses are air conditioned, and which is a really important thing in the summer because it does provide a little bit of rest during the camp day, which we know can be really hot in these summer months. Each of the buses has seat belts. All of our staff are making sure that the campers are wearing their seat belts on the bus. And part of the role of the staff, not only the bus captain, but the additional staff members who are riding the bus, is to be supervising, but also we do a lot of training on how to facilitate conversations with campers on the bus, right? We know that some campers are coming to camp not knowing anybody. And so it's really important that our staff is aware of that. They're spread out across the bus and they know that is their responsibility to be assisting during this time. Some buses like to do they'll have musical playlists that are really exclusive. I know Tracy headed up a bus last year for us, and the songs and cheers that were coming off of Bus O last year were amazing. And it becomes a really fun part of the day. And it's a new group and community that your campers have besides their camp group, because these are the people that they're traveling with each day. These are the staff that they're riding with each day. And so it's a really great start to camp. Our buses are picking up between 8 and 8:30 in the morning. We're getting to camp around 9. We're starting our activities around 9:15. And what that looks like in the morning is that once the campers unload off of the buses, the bus staff are escorting them to our first program of the day, which is our morning assembly, which we call Boker Tov, which means good morning in Hebrew. And Tracy will talk a little bit more about that when we get to the schedule section. But it's important to know the campers are never alone at any point. They're escorted by the staff to that location. We make sure that they are, with the right counselors, where we're starting to take attendance again after the bus, just making sure that everybody has made it to the right place. An important piece to note that if your camper is bus sick, or you would really like them to be sitting with a friend on the bus, if there's anything you think would be helpful for us, it's really good to let us know before the start of camp. And that can be through a conversation with your camper's tribe leader, which is your grade supervisor, or it could be a conversation with any of us after this call. The more information we have about your camper, the better. And we can always make accommodations if a camper gets bus sick, or they would like to sit with a friend. We can usually work through those things and help make the experience a little bit better for them. To talk about afternoon pickup, which looks a little bit different, we are riding on the same buses back. You'll have the same point person as you do in the morning, that same bus captain. All of our buses are leaving camp around 4:15 and getting to their stops around 4:45, 5 o'clock. We do have a text alert system. So if your bus is late, if it's any more than 5 minutes late, we will usually send you a message if you're opted into text alerts to let you know where the bus is. Sometimes there is traffic, especially on the buses that are coming over the George Washington Bridge. And so we try to get ahead of that and let you know what's going on. If you ever have questions, we are able to track the buses along with our bus company, and you'll have the contact information for our transportation team to be able to connect with them if you ever have a question on the ride home. As far as pickup, this is a really important part of the day for us. In your parent dashboard profiles, there's an area to add authorized pickups for your camper. We'll send an email that kind of guides you through the process coming up in the next month. But it's really important to make sure that anyone that you have picking up your child is on that list. We are unable to release campers to anyone other than a parent or an authorized pickup. And so we need to make sure that each person is ID'd and that we have the information for them. After the first few days of camp, our staff generally gets used to the authorized pickup persons. And so once they're familiar with you, they won't need to ID you anymore. But we do ask for the first few days to just be patient with us. To not be offended if a staff member asks you a couple times. It's part of our training with them. We want them to be super, super thorough with the pickup because we know that that's a really important part of the day. And we want to make sure everyone's going home with the right people. If your child is 10 years and up, they are able to walk home by themselves, but that is with a permission to walk home form, which again, you can find in your parent dashboard account. And we'll also send reminders out to any families that might qualify for that so that you know about the form and that we have it before the start of the summer. So that's a little bit about the transportation part of the day. Tracy's up next to talk more about the daily schedule and what happens once we get to camp.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so this is an example of what our schedules at camp look like. We start, for the most part, they all will look like this with a few minor exceptions. Miriam, our entering kindergarten tribe, will have a back-to-back swim period, and this just alleviates the amount of times that they have to change and transition for swim. Before camp starts, all of the tribe leaders, the person overseeing each grade, will be reaching out to families to talk, to get to know you a little bit and your child, and to go over the breakdown of the schedule so you'll have an idea as to when your camper will have swim and other activities. Like Roxanne mentioned before, we start every day with our Boker Tov, which means good morning and kind of kicks off the camp day. So there, everyone will get into their groups and we take attendance. We sing a lot of songs. We do cheers. There's a health and safety tip of the day, a Hebrew word of the day. And each of our 5 neighborhoods puts on a little presentation each day of the week. So at camp, we have 5 different neighborhoods. We have Play, which is our sports and fitness neighborhood. So all of your classic sports, soccer, kickball, basketball, etc. We have Create, which is our arts and drama. So things like music, dance, theater, arts and crafts. We have Discover, which is science and technology. So things like Lego robotics, computer programming, science experiments. We have Explore, which is our outdoor adventure, which is the rock wall, archery, the fire pit, hiking. And then we have Grow, which is our farm to table. We have a beautiful garden up at camp. And campers in our Grow neighborhood will help to take care of the garden. They'll harvest from the garden and do some culinary arts and cooking. Our pioneers, our kindergarten through second graders, they're getting a little bit of all 5 of those neighborhoods throughout their day, throughout their week, throughout their summer. Our Trailblazers entering 3rd through 6th graders, at the time of registration, they're selecting a neighborhood to participate in each week. So it's about 3 periods a day that are specific to their neighborhoods. The Trailblazers will also have a club period occasionally during the week. And that's basically a choice period where they'll be given a few different activities to choose from. And that's a really nice way to be able to try an activity outside of your neighborhood during the week, and do something, a little different.
Awesome. So now you've got a rundown of a lot of the amazing things that happen at camp, but one of the most exciting parts about camp is swim. A lot of you sign your kids up for this program specifically. So I do want to dive into it and talk a little bit about what swim looks like for all the different age groups. So as you can see, we swim twice a day. The ratio for pioneers for the littles is 1 to 3. So there will be 1 adult for every 3 kids in the pool. This is inclusive of our own counselors and the lifeguards themselves. And then for Trailblazers and teens, the ratio is 1 to 4. So 1 staff for every 4 campers. And when I say we swim twice, the 2 different swim periods are instructional swim, which is a 30-minute block for all of our campers. This is where lessons will be broken up into their swim levels. So it will be tailored specifically to what your child needs to learn and where they are at and their comfortability level in the pool. And it's taught by our lifeguard staff. All counselors will be in the water at all times. They built into our ratio, and we'll make sure that they're there for safety. So they're standing there, they're helping the kids, support them with the kickboards and all the different things, but they're in the water and they're hands-on with our kids. The other one is recreational swim. So for 30 minutes of the day, your child will get to engage in free swim. This is where they can play, they can practice the things they learned in instructional swim, and really they can also cool off. It gets super hot at camp, and a pool is a great place for them to have a break from that heat. The changing time for swim is built into the schedule, so they won't lose out on their pool time when they change. Our changing rooms are spread out through camp, and each tribe is assigned a specific changing room. And your tribe leader, when they reach out to contact, can give you more information about what that looks like. On the first day for your camper, whether your camper starts week 1 or whether your camper starts week 6, they will get swim tested the first time that they touch the pool. So our lifeguards are trained in the Red Cross levels, which I believe there's a slide for. And these Red Cross levels is really how our lifeguards are evaluating your kids. So the big general groups are, we have 3. Blue, which is our beginner swimmers, and they're broken even further into our waders, our splashers, and our guppies. We have our yellows, which is our intermediate level, and you can see the breakdown there. And then we have our red swimmers, which are our expert swimmers. And this is, you'll all get this when you register and when you get your swim levels from our aquatics coordinator to deny, but these are broken down in really specifically what your kids are going to be learning during that instructional time. Our lifeguards are constantly monitoring for improvement in swim, and you will see that your child will grow as a swimmer. You will get move-ups when your child is evaluated and the lifeguard has deemed that your child is ready to move on to the next level. And those are sent out periodically from our aquatics coordinator, so you are up to date. And so you know what your child is doing and how they are growing and becoming the best swimmers that they can possibly be here at camp. And another really amazing thing that we offer here at Camp 12 Trails is towel service. So that means you do not have to pack your child a towel. It does not have to take up that much space in your backpack. We will provide a towel for both their instructional swim and their free swim, and then we will keep the towels and we will wash the towels. So towels do not have to be a headache for you this summer. It is an awesome thing we're able to provide, and it definitely helps with those heavy backpacks that you're going to send your child to camp with every single day. Awesome. I think that is everything.
Thanks, Emma. Towel service is definitely a big thing that we started a few years ago, which makes a huge difference for families. Jumping into special events at camp, we have a camp calendar every year, which you will be getting in an upcoming newsletter. This showcases our theme days, our dress up days, anything special that we have going on at camp. And know that we don't expect you to know exactly what each of these things mean on the calendar because we will be sending out details. If you have never experienced Purim, which is a super fun Jewish holiday where there is a lot of dressing up, we will explain what that means to you so that you feel really included and can participate in that program. So don't worry if it doesn't make sense right now. Know that it just means we're going to be having fun at camp. Wednesdays are typically dress up days for us. There is a little shirt icon on the days that there is a dress up. Please do not stress too much about buying a costume. We can always help provide or make something at camp if you don't have something that fits the day. Thursdays are a special event day. These are organized by Des, our amazing special events coordinator who works at the Y of Washington Heights full-time. She plans the days. There's a period for each grade where they really get to immerse in the theme for the day and do special activities. Nothing else for you to plan or send or do for that day. And Fridays is Shabbat. Shabbat is a value of us for hours at camp. It's all about reflection and community. It's a time for us as a community and a camp to be together. It's a beautiful way for us to wrap up the end of the week. It is not a religious Shabbat. It is really important that everyone feels included in that, whether you are Jewish or not. And so it's a great way for us to just talk about the things that have happened, to sing songs together, to eat some challah, and just like have a nice time before we all head out on a Friday. On Mondays, we do ask, or Mondays are the start of any week, we do ask that you wear a camp t-shirt. You will get this in your camper packet before the first day. We'll send out a message in June when you're able to start picking them up at your local agency. And there'll be a packet with your camper with their t-shirt and a bus tag that you can put on their backpack. And it's a great way for us. We have campers starting each week at camp. And so to have everyone wearing their camp shirts all together just really helps to make everyone feel included and starting off, no matter, again, if they're starting week 1 or they're starting week 6 of camp. So moving into some of the special events and programming that happen that might not necessarily be planned this far in advance. Inclement weather. We hope for sunny days at camp. We hope for, 80-degree days at camp. But sometimes we get rain. Sometimes we get thunderstorms. Sometimes we get high heat. And we always have backup plans for all of these such cases. I'll be sending out our family handbook in the coming weeks, which will also go through in much detail what we do in each of these circumstances. But as a quick overview, if we ever feel like it's going to be a complete washout of the day, so that means that it's not just a little bit of drizzle for a period or two in our day, but it might mean thunderstorms for the entire day, we may look to do alternate activities off-site. And that can look like bowling, it can look like mini golf, it can look like a museum trip or a movie. We always look for age appropriate activities. We always message out to families before we leave for the trip so that you have the address and the location that your child will be at, which is very important. And we make sure that you know what's going on, but it's important for us that the campers, knowing that we have little indoor space at camp, many of our buildings and home bases are pavilion style, covered and very safe, even in a rainstorm. We know that spending the entire day in a home base may not be the best. And so we do look for options like this. When we notice that it might be a little bit of rain or a partial day of rain, our specialists go into their rain plan activity, which we also use in extreme heat, which just means that we're altering activities to make sure that the campers are not outside. So that might mean specialists coming to the home bases to run their activities, whether it's arts and crafts or theater or our STEM activities. And we're making sure that the kids are still having fun. There are also some really cool things that just happen in rain days. There have definitely been like a superhero like fashion show and silly things that happen at camp on these rain days that our staff plan. And so we encourage you to send your children when it rains at camp. It's still a great day for us all together, even if we're not outside the entire time. So moving on to our next section, I'm going to let Beth go into some health and safety items, including food at camp.
Hi, everybody. So health and safety is very important for us at camp. I think that one of the things that we do at camp is the food at camp, and we offer morning and afternoon snack. All food at camp is kosher style. So in the morning, we will give the campers a fruit. It will either be an apple or a banana or a pear, something to get them started for the day. And we also provide an afternoon snack for before they leave. This is usually when we give them something more on the grain side, like pretzels or Cheez-Its. But fruit is always available throughout the day, or even in the morning and in the afternoon. We do ask that you pack a lunch for your kids. Again, it should be a kosher style lunch. We do have fridges located in each of the home bases. So the lunches will be refrigerated. And we ask that, again, kosher style. So this means that we're not mixing dairy with meat. And it just means also that we ask you not to pack any like fish or shellfish or that. We are also a peanut-free camp, but tree nuts are okay. So instead of peanut butter, a very good substitute for that is sun butter. However, the tree nuts do look a little bit like peanut butter, so it's very easy to confuse for peanut butter. So we do ask that you please, please, please label if you're sending any tree nuts. We really do have some kids who do have very severe allergies to nuts, and we want to make sure that all of our kids are safe and that they are okay. So if we are not sure what you are packing, we might have to ask them to, like nicely sit a little bit further from that child that might have the allergy, just to ensure that that child is safe. Never in a way where we are going to make them feel left out or anything. We just want to make sure that the kids are safe and eating the right snacks that we ask them. We also do special snacks. We do birthday ices for the group. If your child does have a summer birthday, we do make sure to celebrate this. We do, if they are comfortable, ask them to come up during Boker Tov, and the whole camp will like sing them happy birthday. If they are not comfortable coming up in front of the whole camp, that is absolutely okay. We can do something very small inside the group itself, but we do want to make sure that your children do feel celebrated on their special day. So after lunch, we make sure to give them a birthday ices, and their group will get that. We ask that you please not provide your own celebration snacks, but we will provide that for you. Caring for our bodies at camp is very, very important. I know that we've mentioned a lot of things that we already do. We mentioned that it gets really hot at camp. And we mentioned that a way to keep cool is we do different activities if it gets too hot. But one thing that we do is we make sure that our kids are always sunscreened. It's very, very important. We ask that sorry guys. We ask that you put sunscreen on them before sending them to camp. But if you don't, that's totally fine. Just let us know so that we can put sunscreen on them at the beginning of camp. We make sure that they're sunscreened before getting into the pool. We make sure that they're sunscreened when they get out of the pool. We make sure that they're sunscreened again if they've been doing an activity that's gonna make them like sweat a little bit more, or if they've been doing a lot, we make sure that they are sunscreened all the time. We have sunscreen at camp. And I know there have been children in the past who are sensitive to different sunscreens. So if there is a sunscreen that your child prefers or something that that they need to use, we will absolutely use that instead of the sunscreen that we provide at camp. We also make sure that the kids are hydrated. We even do little like fun activities of seeing which group drinks the most water, and we would do like different water activities to make sure that they're always hydrated. We bring the water bottles with us to camp to to camp. We bring the water bottles to every activity at camp. I apologize. I don't know why I'm not speaking today, guys. I apologize. We do bring our water bottles to each activity at camp, and we make sure that they're hydrated. There are water stations throughout camp, so that children are able to refill their water bottles wherever they're at and in any activity that they go to. One thing that's really enjoyed by campers is that we have sprinklers out throughout camp. If it gets too hot, the kids absolutely love being able to like walk through camp and being like, oh, where's the next sprinkler gonna be? Or like some of us will like have like a little hose in the sprinkler setting, so like we can surprise them with different activities to stay cool. So it's a lot of fun and they get to enjoy that. We like to make sure that our campers are safe and that they are okay so that they can have the best time here at camp.
Thanks, Beth. Just to add, if your child does have any allergies, it's really important that you let us know before the start of camp. We do ask it at several different points during the registration process, and it should be included on your medical forms. There is a web form as part of the parent dashboard to also fill out if your child takes any medication or has any allergies. The more we know, again, the better. It helps us. We make sure that each groups know the allergies for their campers, and we're happy to work with you and talk pre-camp if you have any questions about that. A little bit about our health center. These are our nurses, Roseanne and Rhoda. They don't let me take many pictures of them, so this is the silly one I have from a couple years ago. Both Roseanne and Rhoda are RNs. They've both been with us for many years at this point. They saw us through COVID and our reopening protocols. They're just really wonderful people. Roseanne works at a local school in Rockland County as their school nurse, and so she's really active. And Rhoda comes to work with us each summer. And so these are the welcoming faces in the health center. These are the people that if your child needs a Band-Aid or stops by for an ice pack, you may get a phone call or email from them just checking in if your camper needs to stop by the health center. They are also the people that are reviewing all of our camper medicals before camp to make sure that everything is set. So be sure, I know Tracy's gonna add a reminder at the end, but be sure to upload your camper medical if you haven't already. It's really important for us to have and a requirement for the Department of Health. And again, helps us get to know your camper. Our health center is an air-conditioned space. It does have some beds and reclining spaces for anyone that's not feeling well. We do have an isolation room as well that's right across from our health center where the nurses can bring anybody that might have a migraine or need to be separated because of a contagious illness or something like that. And so we'll make sure that your campers are well taken care of. We will give you a call if we feel like they do need to be picked up. That's something that your tribe leader or the nurses will reach out to you if we do feel like it's that serious that they do need to be picked up. And it's also important to know that besides our health center staff, Roseanne and Rhoda, we do have staff members with other certifications, such as responding to emergencies, which is like an extensive Red Cross certification, many staff that are CPR and first aid certified. And this is to ensure that there's people all across camp that can act in case they need to. If your camper has emergency medicine or an allergy, I did say that you can mention that to us pre-camp, but we will send out instructions for any sort of medication or emergency medication that you need to send before camp begins. So next up, we're going to talk a little bit about our staff at camp. This is also like one of the biggest, most important elements of our program because our staff are really the people that are making it happen each day. These are the people that are with your kids. They're the people spending their entire summer with. And we hope they're people that they will remember for many years to come. I know I still remember many of my camp counselors. And we hope that maybe your kids become staffers at camp one day too, because I have to tell you, it's really one of my favorite things to see. And I've been here that long enough to see it. So a little bit about who our staff are. Our staff all go through a pretty rigorous paperwork and interview process. I will jump to that section. So we do individual interviews by all of our leadership team. We do not have seasonal staff or anyone not on the year-round team doing interviews. It is the people right here on this call and a few additional people that are doing the interviews. We take it really seriously. It's important to us that we're getting to know the individuals that we're working with. After their interview, we do a thorough reference check on each of the individuals, and we also do several background checks. We are going through, criminal conviction background checks. We are going through sex offender registry, state and national. These are also all standards and requirements to be certified and permitted through the Department of Health of Rockland County, but also to be accredited with the American Camp Association. Now, to run 12 trails, we do need to be permitted through Department of Health, but our accreditation with American Camp Association is something that we've chosen to do. There's a very rigorous process. There's hundreds of standards that we have submitted and we adhere to. And really what that means is that we are doing best practices in the camp industry. We follow all of the advice that the American Camp Association gives us. It also provides amazing staff training and development opportunities. A lot of our year-round staff also gets to participate in professional development and workshops, and there's a lot of opportunities of learning, because even though many of us have been doing this for a long time, we recognize that there's always more for us to learn. And so it's really important, and it's something we're super proud of. We became accredited in 2018, and you have to maintain it through visits and through a submission of all of your standards and paperwork every few years. So it's something we'll continue to do, but it's really helped guide us in our practices and especially with staff hiring. So I'll jump back for a minute just to talk about staff ratios at camp with our campers. And so we have a breakdown here for you just to be able to see. I know Emma spoke a little bit about what it looks like in the pool with our campers, but here's what it looks like depending on the grade of your child. Now, this is the counselor to camper ratio that you're seeing for each grade. It's important to note that every activity your camper is going to, for the most part, has a specialist leading it, who is an additional person that's adding to the ratio and lowering this for the group. A constant nice feedback and compliment we get from Department of Health is that they're very impressed with our ratios walking around camp, because while this is the requirement that you see in front of you, we are constantly meeting or exceeding this ratio, meaning that we can just provide more attention to your campers. And part of that also, leads into our inclusion program, where any campers that do need that additional support because of their IEP or 504 plan can have a counselor, whether popping into their group throughout the day or staying with them throughout the day to provide support. And that is not included in this ratio as well. So there's lots of people at camp providing support to our kids and making sure that everyone's getting the attention they need at camp. Jumping into communication, we've mentioned a few different things over the course of this webinar, but I'd love to just point out the moments when you'll be hearing from us and when we want to hear from you. Pre-camp, you'll be introduced to your tribe leader the first week of June. Your tribe leader is the grade supervisor for your campers. Most tribe leaders supervise somewhere between 4 and 6 groups. This person will be your point of contact for the summer. They are someone generally that's a returner to camp or someone that has a lot of experience with children, and they are going to be the person that you can email and call if you have any questions about what's going on with your child. Pre-camp, they'll send out an email introducing themselves to you, and they'll also have an option to sign up for a phone call so that you can share a little bit more about your child. If you would prefer to talk over email or instead of the phone, or you prefer to do a Zoom, we can always arrange that with the tribe leader and your family. But this is a great way for them to get to know your child before the start of camp. We send out communication at the start of every week. And so any of those special event reminders or different things that we want you to know, you'll be getting emails about before camp and during camp. If your child visits the nurse, we'll be sure to reach out to you about that. We do train our staff that even if you're sending a child home with just a Band-Aid because it was a little scratch, it's important that our families are notified and that you hear from us so that you know what happened throughout the day. Emma mentioned before, if your camper changes the swim level, which is a super fun thing that happens at camp, we do send swim cards home with your child saying the new swim level, and you'll get an email as well talking about the new skills that they'll be working on coming up. If we ever have concerns about something that we're seeing with your camper at camp, for us, it's about partnering with you to ensure that they're having a great experience. And so our phone calls or connecting or emails are going to be just that, to partner with you to see what we can do to make it a better experience. We also love to tell you, not just when things, might be a little concerning, but when things are super awesome. We want to share those highlights of the summer with you. We know that you're not at camp every day, and you want to know if your child has made it to the top of the rock wall, and you want to know if they are a new swimmer and they put their head underwater for the first time today. Beth loves doing those phone calls. But those are moments, and those are moments we want to share with you and to be excited with you about, because those are the moments that we love, and it's much of the reason why we do the work we do. We want to hear from you if there's ever an attendance issue, like if your child's not going to be coming to camp that day, if they're not feeling well. Very important for us to know ahead of time. If you have concerns about camp, whatever that may be, we want to hear from you. The sooner we hear from you, the sooner we can rectify something, and again, partner with you to make it a better experience. If you have concerns about your camper, maybe your camper didn't sleep well the night before, and maybe you noticed that they're coming home really tired each day. Maybe you're concerned about how often they're putting on sunscreen. Whatever it may be, this is why we have our leadership team at camp. This is why we have our tribe leaders, to be able to connect with you and give you that personalized attention. So you have everything that you need, and again, so that your child can have a great experience at camp. If you ever feel like you're not getting the proper communication or you're having a hard time reaching anyone, you're welcome to contact myself or Tracy or Beth or Emma, any of us here. You'll have all of our contact information. We're happy to jump in. It is important to know, as I have listed on the side here, that many of our tribe leaders, their primary function, besides being your main point of contact, is to be out and about at camp when it's going on. They are at activities. They are playing kickball. Sometimes they're getting in the pool. They're at the sprinklers. They're at carnival. They are in the activities. And that's how they know what's going on with each group, with the staff, with your campers. And so they may not be able to give you an immediate response during the camp day. But if you ever have anything urgent, you will have the main camp office line, which is always answered throughout the camp day. And our office manager will be able to relay the message and get you a call back as soon as they can. So it's really important that you know that we'll always try to get back to you as soon as we can. But that is what our tribe leaders are doing throughout the day. And we think it's a really important part of their role at camp. Some other ways to stay connected with us are following us on social media in the summer, which we do post. Every family, when they register for camp, does indicate whether their child can be on social media for us. If you're not comfortable with that, there is a way to opt out of it. We do have password protected photos that families will have access to. So if you opt out of social media, it does not mean you opt out of photos altogether at camp. So just let us know what works for you. If you need to update your form, you can always email us and let us know. But that's a great way to stay up to date during the summer. We do post daily. So it's really fun to see what's going on throughout the day in this live way. Every Friday at camp, we also do send a newsletter, which talks a little bit about the activities for the day, any sort of announcements for the week. It's a shout outs. It's a really great thing to read at the end of the day before Shabbat. As we wrap up the week. And then in the preseason leading up to camp, we'll be sending newsletters as well so that you have up-to-date information. We'll be sending newsletters on Fridays where we'll have the calendar and different reminders and the family handbook. And so we like to give you a little bit of information at a time because we know that it's a lot of information you're getting, especially if you're a new family. So we'll be sure to spread it out over the next few weeks before camp so that you have access to everything. And again, if you ever have a question, you can always email info@camp12trails.org or any of us, and we'll be sure to follow up with you. New for this summer, which we will be announcing in an upcoming newsletter, is that we have created a camp app for this summer. And this is a way for us to just give you a little bit more clean access to what's going on at camp. We know that the parent dashboard, is sometimes difficult to see on your phone, and we wanted to make it easier for families, and that's why we created this app for this summer. This will be the space where we're storing camp photos. It will have the contact list, which is clickable, so you'll be able to make a call right from the app to whoever you want on the contact list. It has push notifications, so we'll be sure to send out alerts if you're opted in for any sort of dress up days or anything cool that we have going on that we want you to know about. Our camp calendar will be in here with notifications for anything coming up. And it's just like a really nice way to be able to see what's going on at camp. So we'll be sending out some details in the upcoming weeks about how to register for the app and how to get signed in. You do need to be registered for camp to have the app and to be logged in. So an important thing to know, because we do want all of our photos to be password protected just for our families. That is most of camp that we've talked about this evening. The last piece that I would like to share before we, give space and hang around for some questions is just to acknowledge the supporters of Camp 12 Trails. We are a JCC camp. We are part of 3 Jewish community centers, the Y of Washington Heights, the Riverdale Y, and the Shames JCC. We have staff that come from each of these locations. And it's a really important part of our identity. I mentioned before that we are accredited with the American Camp Association, which provides us tons of support and best practices to follow. We're permitted by the Department of Health each summer, and they come to visit us and do a very thorough inspection. We're a partner of JCC Association as JCCs. We are part of UJA Federation as well, who provides us tons of scholarship and assistance and funding, and we wouldn't be able to run 12 Trails without their support. And we are also a part of Foundation for Jewish Camp. Foundation for Jewish Camp really helped us to build 12 Trails in 2016 when we had this vision and idea for this program. And we have been part of many mentor cohorts with them to learn and grow and get better. And so it's important that we acknowledge all of these people as part of our camp identity, and who helped to make us Camp 12 Trails. So that is our overall main webinar program. You'll still be getting tons of info from us moving forward. Important reminders, I'll jump in on this, but submit your camp medical forms, really important. They're due by June 1st. Our nurses do need to check them all before the start of camp. So it's really important that we have those. An email went out to anyone recently who we were still missing the forms for as a reminder. And we also ask that you keep an eye on your email, because we are sending out tons of communication, as I've mentioned, and we really want you to stay up to date on everything that's going on. We will have coming up in a couple weeks your bus confirmation email with the timing of each of the bus stops, so you have that information. They'll be introducing the tribe leaders to you and being able to schedule welcome phone calls, when to pick up your camper packet. So our newsletters will have some of that, and there'll also be some targeted emails and reminders from there. But really important that you stay up to date on that, so you know everything that's going on at camp. And if you ever need to reach out to us, you can always contact info@camp12trails.org, and we'll be sure to make sure that the appropriate leadership team member reaches out to you. But mostly, we really want to say thank you for being here tonight. It's bedtime in my house, which means I'm sure it's close to bedtime or already bedtime in most of your houses. And so we really thank everyone that was able to join us live tonight. For those of you watching the recording, thank you so much for taking the time to do that as well. We hope that this first of our webinars gets you ready for the summer. And just a reminder that next week is our inclusion webinar, and the week after that will be our teen webinar. But yeah, we hope to hear from you soon. We can't wait to see you soon. And yeah, have a good night, everybody. If you have questions, we are sticking around for a few, but we'll stop recording.